This is a power play, plain and simple. The president wants people to obey. He wants people to use the words he chooses. He wants people to fall in line, and if they don't, they lose their access. They're not allowed to be in the company of the president. Notably, in the last 2 days, when the AP reporters have been blocked, in one case I'm told physically blocked from entering the Oval Office, the photographer was still allowed in, the AP photographer, right? Because the president still wants his photo taken.
Pictures, just
he wants
not
the
the
pictures,
words.
but not the words. This is a First Amendment violation, and I expect in the next few days the AP will file suit, and they have a very strong case in court. This is yet another example where the courts will be the recourse for presidential action.
Brian, what are the other media outlets doing?
Right now, they're still showing up, they're still asking questions, but that's right, the Correspondents Association has condemned this and called it unacceptable. I think you're suggesting maybe reporters should, what, skip the briefing?
Should band together, because I
Skip
mean,
the,
listen, if the bully manages to bully one, he's not going to stop at one.
I don't think this is as emotional as you're making it out to be. You know, take away the hysteria for a moment. First off, Trump doesn't need
Who's
AP
being
to
hysterical?
Take, both of you. Trump doesn't need, first of all, AP
You
to
obviously
take
don't know what a
photographs.
hysterical Ana Navarro is
I
like.
just believe it comes down to compliance.
That's true,
Trump put out an executive.
First of all, listen, we got a lot to watch in this video, but I just want to make this known that you know a feminist woman when you see one, when they try to champion or acknowledge how nasty or terrible that they can get. She's obviously saying, well, you haven't seen how bad I can get. And like, this is funny, like this is something good, like the society wants to see women act terrible and bad and act crazy. And a lot of feminist women, they champion crazy, outrageous, and insane behavior as something to cheer for. And in actuality, it's absolutely disgusting. This is feminist in her finest.
Executive order. There was an executive order. He changed the name legally to Gulf of America. They're United States based. I know they're international as well, but right now they're covering U.S. politics. So if he makes an executive order, they should respect that. And if they don't, being there is not a right, it's a privilege.
So I'm going to add in here, though, that this has been called the Gulf of Mexico for 400 years, and every other nation calls it the Gulf of Mexico. So just because Trump claims that we need to...
States.
Okay, but doesn't this feel like a really weird, like, wokeism thing on the right? Like, it feels like the right's version of, like, Latinx or, like, birthing person. It just feels like a really weird hill to die on.
Nobody, by the way, just to be clear, nobody had to comply with any of that.
Yeah, if the
Biden
administration did that,
and if they did,
people would be up in arms.
Heads would be exploding at this table.
Maybe
If someone said to you, you've got to refer to people as
they should
birthing
adopt
people.
the Prince method. Just have a little symbol called the Gulf, formerly known as the Gulf of Mexico, which should now be called whatever the hell.
There's a much broader,
the Gulf of whatever the hell he wants.
but there's a much broader danger. Today it's the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America. Tomorrow, what is it? The president says there's only 2 genders in this world. We all know transgender people. What happens when the AP reports on transgender Americans? What happens when CNN or ABC or the New York Times?
Okay,
are those the next outlets to
I
be
believe
punished?
that there's 2 genders, and then Biden tells me that there's 73. I don't comply with that.
Yeah, but
the Biden
administration
isn't barring Fox News from covering press conferences.
Right, he's not going to ban you from
And Trump
coming
hasn't
to the
done
White
that
House
yet.
because
This
you have
is
a
what I mean
different
about
belief.
the
For the last 2 days, the AP has been blocked from attending events that it's attended for decades.
Executive order.
No, I really would rather you not refer to me as hysterical for expressing an opinion. I think that's incredibly disrespectful. I don't do it to you.
Why do you think the AP...
What the heck? Now you want to argue that you're not hysterical? You just said that you definitely can get incredibly hysterical. And she didn't actually directly argue it towards you. She said us, as the commentators of the news, let's not get hysterical. She didn't say you. That woman is sick. Whoever that woman is absolutely positively sick. She has something wrong with her.
Won't just call it the Gulf of America. I mean, the president does
let me
rename
just
things. We rename, what's the mountain? Denali, Mount McKinley.
Let me read their explanation for why they are not doing it. Essentially, they are saying that the Trump's order only carries authority within the United States. Mexico, as well as other countries and international bodies, do not have to recognize that name change. The Gulf of Mexico has carried that name for 400 years, as was said at the table, and the Associated Press is going to refer to it by its original name while acknowledging that Trump has a new name that he would like to call it. They are an international organization. No one except Trump with a pen has said that it's the Gulf of America. It's a body of water that also has borders with another country. And it's been named that for 400 years.
I know, but we have a lawful process in this country for changing the name of it. The president went through it with the Secretary of the Interior, by the way. I mean, it feels a little
different. Can I just answer your Denali question? The Denali thing is actually different because that's a place that's in the United States proper. It exists in
But we changed the name of it. The point is we changed the name of it.
We have the ability to change the name. It's Mount McKinley, it's Mount McKinley.
But we also have the ability to change this body of water. I think, look, this smacks to me of a news organization looking for a way to pick a fight with Donald Trump over something that they don't need to pick a fight over.
Exactly.
B, he is the president, and there is a lawful process that he did follow to do it.
The news
and so
organization
why
did
won't they
not
just
pick a fight
respect
with Donald
that?
Trump over this. Donald Trump picked a fight with the news organization.
No, they're not calling it by the name.
No,
That's the
the
fight.
news organization can do whatever they want. If they want to call it the Gulf of South America, they can call it
But
that.
why would I?
See, and this is the mentality with the left, which makes them absolutely ridiculous. No, he said he changed the name, and he did it with the stroke of a pen with executive order. And if you don't want to come into this press conference and acknowledge it as that, then I'm going to have you barred because we're not going to play these games. Trump's is not playing games. He's not playing games. He's not for the games. And then they want to say, well, he's picking a fight with the press. No, he's not. There will be no fight. It's like with parents dealing with children. They're not going to take an argument from a child. It's, I said we're doing this, and that's that. Case closed, story ended, door closed. There is nothing else. So the left's obviously ridiculous perspective is showing itself. And Scott Jennings is here is letting them know.
Respect a news organization that doesn't deal in reality.
But you don't have
false
to.
information if to not call it what
they
it is.
can call it whatever they want because there's free speech in this country. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, but that, in my opinion, if you're not willing to call something by the proper name based on the laws of the United States, that calls into question your judgment. And are you a news organization?
By the way,
or are
there
you
are
just...
no laws in play here. It's an executive order,
but-
and the body of water is not named by the United States. It's named
Sure
by
it is.
global organizations that name global landmarks.
Would it
That's
be-
not. It's not. There's no law.
So you don't respect Donald Trump's executive order or the Secretary of the Interior's process on this either.
Donald Trump had an executive order, but the Associated Press is not bound by it.
Scott,
That's
what if
the bottom line.
the
Well,
Biden
that's their
administration
choice.
did
I like
this
the-
though similarly? What if
What sense does that make? Oh, this has nothing to do with the laws. It's an executive order. What are you talking about? Yeah, well, he put in play an executive order to change the name, but that doesn't mean that we have to follow it. What? What are you even saying?
if the Biden administration was barring, say, a Fox News because they weren't going along with an executive order where Biden said you must refer to every single transgender person as they, them, or whatever it was.
I think if you
would
want to
you
engage in a-
would you be supportive of that then? I think that it gets really dangerous when we start forcing terminology on people. I didn't like it when the left did it with things like Latinx, birthing person, you name
these
it.
things are not in any way, shape, or form related.
They're
B,
remotely
the Biden
similar.
administration treated the press as poorly as any president has ever treated them, gave them less access, answered no questions, no transparency at any given time. Donald Trump's answered more questions in 3 weeks than Joe Biden answered in 4 years. Elon Musk answered
That's
more
not true.
than
And also, a lot of the
Bingo. Bingo.
Come on, Brian.
It's also-
This
it's also-
administration
hang
is
on.
giving the most
It is
access to the press
also-
they could possibly
just
want.
to be clear, it's also changing the subject, and we're not changing the
But
subject.
you're asking about transparency.
No, we
Can the news be covered?
Actually,
And
we're
yes,
talking
it's being
about
covered.
the First Amendment, freedom of speech.
Is he being
The
covered?
AP will win in
That's what we're
court.
talking
Look, the
about.
AP is going to win in court. If they go to court, the AP will win, just as CNN won in 2018 when a press credential was revoked. We're going to see the courts speak out on behalf of the First Amendment here.
I'm with Scott here that if he changes the name to the Gulf of America, whether they like it or not, them not calling it that, they are based out of the U.S. I get that they're an international organization. It's simply they're not reporting on the truth. So now if you're the president, you can argue they're not reporting
But Emily,
on the truth.
wouldn't
So
you
why are they
agree that
qualified
the
to be
truth
here?
is also that the rest of the world calls it the Gulf of
So
Mexico?
technically, every other country could change the name of it too in their own country. Then the journalists should comply with whatever their country
but
wants
Emily,
to call
wouldn't
it.
you agree that the truth is also that every other country in the world calls it the Gulf of Mexico?
That's fine, but Donald Trump put an
So,
executive order to
which
change
truth
it.
do you care about?
I care about the American truth.
Okay, okay.
the
So let's
American
just be
truth
clear
is that
about
Trump
it.
changed
You
the
only
name.
care about
So
the
US
version of
journalists-
truth that Donald Trump
I believe
says.
in
This feels like a really
US
weird hill to die
journalist-
on and something to get quite hysterical over. It feels like it's actually ridiculous.
weird
that
how
this
to die.
is a
It's
really
the opposite of a
weird
hill.
thing.
Why is
It's
he
a
dying
slippery
on this
slope.
hill?
Hang on a second, Brian. I do
I
want
agree.
to.
We have bigger
guys,
things to focus
I do
on.
want to talk about one very important thing. Speaking of treatment of the media, the FCC is going after media companies.
Yes.
They're going after NPR and PBS. They're going after NBC, Universal, and Comcast over their corporate practices around DEI. What authority do they have to
The
do
FCC has never done this under Republicans or Democrats before. The current FCC chair appointed by Trump once.
So listen, again, this just shows that the left just doesn't want to comply with anything Trump has to put forward. And whether it's good, bad, indifferent, ugly, beneficial. And it's no question that they have a lack of understanding and transparency why Trump would do such a thing is because they can't rationalize why it's important to follow executive orders because they don't want to follow them. They don't want to do anything he says. They don't want to follow any rules. And even if now the American people are on board, which a video that I have that might have came out already or it's about to come out showed that 70% of people in the country approve of what Trump is doing, which is the highest number that's ever been recorded for Trump. So everybody's on board except your radicals and your progressive left. So I hope you like this video. Make sure to stick around for more videos. Make sure you like and subscribe. I hope you like the channel. More videos coming out soon. See you on the next video.